So since being home from the hospital, over the last couple of weeks, it's been a cycle of me getting up with the kids in the morning, getting Larry ready for school, heading off to school, taking her to school and coming home, and then getting what I can done during the day, is like providing the weather's good, in between helping with Valen and with Silas. Last week we had a beautiful week of frost and really sunny days. Managed to get stuck into our orange tree. Our orange tree was overdue for a good prune. And it's way too tall and it produces a ridiculous amount of oranges, way more than our family needs. So the objective with the pruning was to bring down the canopy a bit, open it up so it can get more sunlight, because it was shading out its own lower fruit and the lower branches, and they weren't ripening properly. But then me, in typical fashion, accidentally kind of took off a little bit more than I should have. I didn't, because by the time I cut the branches that I wanted to cut, and then the ones that were getting in the way, stopping me from being able to cut those branches, it opened it up way more than I was expecting and kind of left it a little ugly looking. By the time I took those top branches out, just a couple of center ones, it's opened up that whole canopy like crazy. And then the one branch that was overhanging the neighbor's fence, I did not realize how much it was actually covering. The objective of when you're pruning back a tree is to take no more than 20% of the branches or the foliage at a time, so you don't shock the tree too much. That being said, citruses do like a hard prune, and they do benefit from a hard prune like that. You'll find the next season or the season after, the amount of fruit that comes through is insane. So through doing that, I went around and picked up all the oranges, and I ended up with 2 wheelbarrow full and half a 50-litre container full of oranges that I now need to preserve. And because I got so many oranges, I've been putting it off for the last few days. I've also been doing a lot of Googling on how I can peel and quarter, or just different methods that I can get these oranges into a state where I can preserve them and freeze them long term, so that later we can make jams and use it for baking and juices and stuff over summer. So I'm going to try a couple of the different methods that I've read on the internet. Guaranteed I'm being set up. I got my nice sharp knife. Always have a sharp knife. One of the first methods I saw is you cut it open into your quarters, and then you use a spoon to sort of scoop the flesh away from the peel, which, if it works, it'd be really handy. So we'll see if that works. Also, did you know navel oranges, which are these oranges, the ones we've got on our property, are called navel oranges because of, I've already cut it away, because of that at the base of the fruit. It's a secondary fruit that's starting to develop within the orange, and it creates what looks like a navel on a human, your belly button. That's basically why this weird part's in the center of your navel oranges. It's a secondary fruit starting to develop. So I kind of feel like that secondary fruit's going to make it hard with the spoon. We'll try anyway. try with a little spoon. This is not. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. No, I'm butchering this. Oh, hang on. It sort of worked, but I lost half the juice. That's kind of what we don't want to happen. Oh, nah. I think I just got lucky with those two. I've just made a mess of that one. Okay, no. Leaving too much flesh behind as well. And too much juice on the table. I don't want to leave the juice on the table. Alright. And then the other one is we quarter it. And you get in there with your thumbs. But I feel if I can get in there with a spoon, I'm not getting in there with my thumbs, especially my sausage fingers. That, ugh. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. That didn't work either. I'm making way too much of a mess. The other one was you cut it skin deep. Just ever so slightly, and you should be able to peel it away. No, oh damn it, I ripped it in half. Oh, well that didn't work. The other one was you peel it. Nah. None of these work. So the spoon method sort of worked, but left way too much flesh behind and too much juice on the table. I don't like that. And I want to be able to keep the rinds for later, for when we do jamming, because oranges, much like B.I.Y and other fruits, they have a natural source of pectin in the skin, which helps the jam solidify or turn to jelly, rather than using a stupid amount of jamming sugar and making your jams way oversweet and unhealthy. So, don't want to have to keep a separate bag of orange peels just so we can do jamming later, and then later find out I didn't keep enough orange peels. So I'm thinking I just cut them into eighths. I'll cut the top off and the little navel part off and cut them into eighths. So I'm going to cut the navel off, top part off, move the juice of the previous feelers out of the way. Boom. Eighth it. I don't even know if that's a word. Eighth it. Alright. Aren't you glad you came to this channel? Now, doing it this way, minimal loss of juice, and we should be able to get through this wheelbarrows way faster. Let's get stuck into it. Otherwise I'm going to be here till Christmas with these oranges, and then freeze them like that. I just read that when you freeze them with the skin, it can change the texture of the orange. Not necessarily the flavour, but the texture. But I don't plan on eating the oranges after thawing them out. They're going to go into the juicer or be used in baking and stuff. So texture is not going to be a problem. And then that way, it's going to minimise the amount of juice we're going to lose. And I'll have the rinds as I need them. Only problem being when you go to use them later down the track, you have to thaw them out and then peel them as you use them, I guess. But for the sake of efficiency, with 2 wheelbarrows full and a container full of oranges, I'm just going to cut them up and bag them and freeze them. And when you go to freeze them, we're going to put them on. And we go to freeze them. We're going to put them onto this tray here, or several trays with wax paper. Put them into the freezer for a few hours. Let them freeze first, and then put them into bags, so that when they go into the bags, they're not going to stick together. Otherwise, if you just put them straight into a bag, you're just going to end up with a solid lump of oranges or fruit, whatever your bag is freezing, preserving. Even vegetables, you sort of want to do the same thing after blanching them. I'm also thinking I'm going to put a heap of oranges out on the roadside and just put a free sign next to them, give them away for free. We got way too many. I've still got heaps on the orange tree as well. And at the moment, they're going for $5 a kilo at the supermarkets here in New Zealand. That's like, what, 3 oranges, 4 oranges, and that's a kilo for $5? That's ridiculous. So last night, while what felt like I was carrying the millionth orange at that point, I decided that instead of leaving the oranges out the front and then someone greedy comes along and just takes a whole lot, I'm gonna give it to a food bank. So I got in contact with someone. They said, yep, sweet, they'll take them. So I'm gonna take them around there now. And I ended up going out there this morning and picking the rest of the oranges off the tree and filling another 50 litre container. This is probably the better part of, I had a guess, there's a better part of 40 odd kilo of oranges there. They're $5 a kilo at the moment. Decent amount of oranges at least anyway.